All right, so today in this video, we're going to do a little bit of maintenance on the old COBRA 138XLR. Great old radios, but they're getting old. I mean, they're old. This is about 1977, 78 vintage, and you know, an old rig like this will from time to time need a little TLC. So I've got a few things I need to take care of on this. And I'm going to address, I think, probably the biggest one first, and that is the receive cutting in and out when I key the radio. See? Come on. Sometimes you can get it back by just working it. Now, it's not the microphone. It does it with other mics too. And also you can come in here and tap the board and make it go in and out. Now, I did this to flex the board and it wasn't doing anything. So I feel pretty confident it's not solder joints. However, I have seen solder joints go bad here. So I redid all of these solder joints and then went all through this section here and then checked this out just visually with the old magnifying glass and powered it back up. And of course, as you can hear, we still have that same problem. So we're going to need to yard this relay out and clean it. So let's do that. Actually, also we have another problem. It's the volume. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but here we go. It's kind of either on or off, and it acts like a lot of the new digital radios do. I'm not a fan of that. That really drives me nuts. So this can go two ways. This volume control can either just be bad or it just needs a good cleaning, and we're going to clean it, and hopefully that'll bring it back. The RF gain's kind of the same way. See, that's just too touchy. If you wanted to use that at nighttime and not disturb anybody else in the house, you know, you don't want that. This would be okay for the mobile, but yeah, not for in-home use. So let's show you the RF gains acting up as well. Like all the RF gain is just right there from like 5 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Now that could either be the pot or some adjustments. This radio is stock except for the clarifier's unlocked. I unlocked the clarifier quite a while ago. That's the only mod on it, and you know, like I say, no alignment, it hasn't been recapped or anything. So we're just going to clean up these pots. All these other ones feel good. The dynamite's not scratchy. The squelch isn't scratchy. The clarifier isn't jumpy. So mode switch isn't noisy. None of this stuff is noisy, but it's just that volume and that RF gain. So we'll address those issues as well. So we're going to go with the relay and these pots. And then last but not least, the meter. As you guys can see, that meter is stuck or sticks. Now, when I was into this radio a while back, I tried to fix it. Some of these you can fix. I should do a video on that, but it's about a 70% success rate. And this didn't work out. Somebody's already been in here before. The bracket for this meter is actually missing, and it was kind of jerry-rigged in there. And there was scotch tape in there. So whoever did some work in here, one of the previous owners, kind of did a shoddy job. So I'm going to clean all of that up. So anyway, let's get started on this. Okay, so we have the unit component side up, and boy, they just don't make them like this anymore. This is a really ruggedly built radio, and you know, Uniden was pretty smart in the design of this thing. They have this little speaker here that's mounted here on this bracket, and the idea is you just loosen up these screws on the sides, on each side, and you can just lift it up and do whatever service work you need to. And I like how they notched out that lid so the relay clears right there. That's kind of cool. And so I've unsoldered the speaker leads, so we'll just pull that up and put it off to the side. I have speaker wires right here, and they are taped off, so they're not going to short on anything. I have an external speaker plugged in here right now. And I have already popped the clip off of this, but there's a little clip on here, and basically that goes on there and holds that relay in the socket. This is kind of meant to service. They did not directly solder the relay into the board. They actually gave us a nice little socket. Now, when I thought this was starting to become a problem, when I first got this radio, I did the usual, and the usual is pull the relay out, plug it in, pull it out, jiggle it around, put it back in, and sometimes I have been successful by doing that, but this time it is the relay. So this relay is going to need to be cleaned. So let's do that. And I have I've actually done a video on cleaning one of these relays. So I'll leave a link to that down below. I'm not going to bore you with that now. And I don't have a burnishing tool. I just use the old paper and deox method. So anyway, I'm usually pretty successful doing that. So anyway, we've got to do this. And let's see. We'll fix that, and then we'll get started on this fun stuff up front. Okay, so this relay is ready to go. I'm not going to put the little hold down clip on it until everything's finished. I don't like messing with those. Those are kind of a PIA. And let's see if we have Joy here. Let's see. See, that volume control drives me nuts. That's something these newer radios do, and I just really don't like that. All right. Okay, that works. Let's plug a microphone into it. Probably should have done that earlier. Perfect. Nice. All right, what should we do next? Let's I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on these. We'll just get all this stuff done first. I do have to take off the bezel anyway, so to get to this meter. So we're going to take the knobs off, the bezel, and I guess while I'm at it, I guess I could clean them up a little bit. But yeah, that's what we're going to do first. Just in case I get anything on the meter or anything like that, I'd rather mess that one up than the replacement meter. Now the replacement meter is like an old school one out of another 138 or probably or maybe even a 148. Yeah, does this have an SWR bridge on it? No, it is. No, it doesn't. I don't know what this is out of, but anyway, it matches. And thanks to Steve 597 for that. Actually, thanks to UDX 597 Steve up in northern Utah just for donating this radio. He said he had one of these. He didn't like it. It wasn't working right, which would have been that relay. And he's just like, you want it for the channel? And I'm like, yeah, cool. So anyway, I like these. A side note, back in the 70s, this was actually one of these 138s, not this exactly one, but it was the first 40-channel sideband mobile that I had. And it was a problem child. It was like the first run or the first gen 138, and it had tons of problems with it. And of course, COBRA went through and did a bunch of service bulletins and updates and stuff and fixed those problems. And this is a later 148 because it has all of those revisions done to it. So pretty cool. Anyway, we'll strip this face off and go from there. Okay, so I've got the screws out of it here, knobs off, bezel off, screws off, put them in order. This is just kind of a habit that I developed way back in the day. If I was servicing or working on a radio that was not familiar to me, I just put the knobs in order so I don't have to play games later on. And anyway, something that I wanted to show you guys, there is a support bracket here that's tied to the main frame up here, and you need to take that screw out. And obviously somebody did not do that. Like I say, somebody's been in here before, and I don't remember if this meter had a bracket to it. But anyway, it's just kind of floating around here, and it was pinned in the bezel. I don't believe they did that on purpose. There should be a screw down in there. Actually, there is a screw there. So let's see, what are we looking at here? Let's get back underneath it and see if I can do this with the camera. I think something's supposed to be in there. I don't remember. There it is, way down in there. So maybe the bracket didn't get reinstalled and they just put the screw in as a hole filler. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. But anyway, whatever. We'll get it. I don't have a parts rig to look or another identical rig to look and make sure. And yeah. But we'll get this sucker swapped out. So before I do that, actually, remember I was going to go back and clean these pots. But as you can see right there, there's a bunch of dirt around that. What is that? That's the squelch. And if these have been in like trucks, you know, like big rigs or just, you know, whatever, the family station wagon for many years, these will get a lot of dirt around here. And when these are dirty, it also makes them hard to turn. So I know a lot of folks will just take the covers of the radio off and get to them from behind, but I do suggest taking that bezel off and cleaning these up too. And I just spray this down with some CRC individually. I'll just spray a little CRC, get a paper towel, and then just go around and clean that off. So we're going to do all this, then I'll get to the meter. That has a bunch of gunk in there. So we're going to clean that. You just see that stuff coming off. Okay, and I'm doing this off the edge of the bench here. Just clean that up. Didn't have a paper towel handy, so I'm just going to use one of my wife's dish towels. Yeah, she's going to love that. Okay, and of course, after I stop the camera here, I'll come back through here and do a better job, but you get the idea. Okay, so the meter's out, and yeah, there is a bracket back there. And it basically screws into the front of the bezel here, or the face plate structure, whatever that's technically called. And there's a Phillips screw from behind that you can get to. But basically, I just kind of got my needle, or my needle nose in there and just gave it a slight, ever so slight bend back, instead of getting in here, undoing all of these cable ties and finish folding this face forward. And before I popped the meter out, I made sure that I could put it back. But anyway, that's kind of how it goes, just like that. And then what they did is they have a piece of foam that sandwiches here between the mount, or this little bracket here, and the meter itself. So I'm going to get this resistor and this wire transferred over to the new meter. So you want to get in and get out. You don't want to heat those prongs up. You just do not want to do that. So have a good clean tip and just get in and get out. Just get the job done, and don't lollygag, and hold the heat on there. All right. So before I pulled it out, I took off the white wire, and you have to unplug the lamp. And I'm not really sure what that is as far as the number of the lamp goes. Somebody, oh, that's an LED. Yeah. Anyway, I don't like it. So I'm going to look and see if I have an actual incandescent lamp, or maybe I'll mock up an LED of some kind and stick in here and see, because this white LED sucks, quite honestly. I don't like the way it looked in there. Just wasn't natural. All right, so I'm going to get the wire and stuff off of there. And by the way, on this tab here, this is a solid wire, and that goes to that little trace right there. So just got the old solder sucker out and sucked that off, and then of course unsoldered the white wire. Gave this just a little bend back. You don't need much, just, you know, like a 1/16 of an inch or so, and then you can bring her up and out. Okay, so I changed the components over, and I mocked up this other white LED that I had. I didn't really like the look of that as well, and I'm thinking it's actually the meter itself. So over here is the old one, and I know the camera doesn't show it, but I don't know if that's OEM or not. Now that I look at it, the backing is up really high, and the coloring on it is just doesn't seem right. Not really sure what's going on there. And I believe this is an aftermarket replacement meter. Like, it's old, but it has a made in China sticker on the back. But as you can see, the markings are down lower. It just has a better look to it overall. So anyway, I'm just going to just use the light that was already installed in the radio. Yeah, can you see how that background sits up so high? So anyway, yeah, funky meter for sure. Okay, so it's done. The meter is installed. I'm pretty much ready to assemble it. I went through and cleaned all the pots, and I have plenty of videos how to do that. There's probably a half dozen of them on there. So if you're new to this channel, just go check out the playlist, and you'll see how to do that. I use the CRC to pre-clean because that stuff's pretty cheap. It's like $10 a can now, which it's gone up like $3 a can in the last few years here. And then of course I use the Deox, the D5 on this with the custom built Wagon Master Enematizer on there, so you can get into nooks and crannies. This came in really handy for home stereos, but I just kind of leave them on there. But I like that. These straws are not easy to manipulate in tight spaces, so I just used an extra one and glued her onto there and heat shrunk it. Yeah, that's right. And there you go. But anyway, so all that's done. So let's turn her back on. And it still has that issue with the volume control. I mean, it's either off or you can feather a little bit better. And I'm not sure if that's just the way these radios were. I wish I had another one right here to compare it against, but you guys let me know. I'm not really sure. And then the RF gain control, of course, still it's most of the action or most of the control is from about 3 to 5 o'clock. Again, I'm not sure if that's just the way these radios were from day one. So it was a great chassis. However, I think Cobra had dibs and had the 858 chassis first. So maybe that was, again, some of the little quirks that they had to work out, because I've got other 858 chassis radios and they do not act like that. And of course, this meter lamp looks 100% better. So let's put the faceplate on. You know, this is interesting. Something I just noticed. Watch this. Now, watch the meter. Watch the needle here. Okay, see how it's still resting kind of high? I don't know why this resistor is up in there. I don't know this circuit well enough, so I couldn't tell you. But watch what happens when we discharge this circuit. See? So, you know, just for giggles, because I haven't done an alignment on this, so if it weirds it out or makes it read too high or something like that, that's fine. I just don't remember seeing this on a lot of radios, so I'm not really sure why that's there. So you 138 guys or you technicians, let me know. But just for this little experiment here, I'm going to heat the pen back up, and I'm going to see what is going on with that. There's old 498. Okay, so I have unsoldered the resistor, or unsoldered it, and I've noticed that now the meter is much more reactive. It's faster, and of course, now it's showing me a higher reading, but we can go in and take care of that with a VR, I'm sure. I'll have to do that during the alignment anyway. But it's still not resting 100%. Let me try to discharge that circuit again with my fingers. See, there it goes. It's in the radio, so I'm going, you know what we do when we assume, right? But anyway, I'm going to assume there's something going on there. It's got the original caps in it. It's never, you know, as far as I know, it hasn't been aligned. So yeah, but I want to show you what this does. I'm going to leave this resistor in here. I'll throw a little flap of tape on there just in case I want to put that back in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this unhooked, and then I'll go through and do the alignment, and then we'll just see what happens. And I'll grab I have a schematic to a TRC 449, and I usually use that 449 service manual to do the alignment. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll see if that fixes this issue or whatever. And if I don't like the way the meter's acting, then we will undo that. But here's what it's like with it in line. It's kind of lazy. Now we'll take it out. Look, it's more reactive. It's not so lazy. John's rocking out here. But there you go. And see how it kind of rests low? So we'll take this out now, out of circuit. And that's about my noise level. Let me change channels. Yeah. Oh, that's squelch. Pretty interesting. Okay, so I'm going to throw a flap of tape over there. I'm not going to resolder that. I don't like hitting those leads with the soldering iron. But see how that's just kind of not sitting right? Then we'll discharge that circuit. Look at that. And then she'll drop right down. That's a pet peeve. I know it's not a big deal, but it is to me. And that could just be the way this radio is. But I like how... Oh, that drives me nuts. I like how, see, it's just kind of slow and lazy. And like I say, we can readjust that when we do the service manual. I'm sorry, I'm shaking here. I'm trying to film and do this at the same time. So meters are kind of a big deal to me. Yes, it looks like I'm gonna have to do that. I may be getting too picky just because, you know, remember, I still have to remember this has not been aligned, and it's got what, you know, 40-plus-year-old caps in it. So we're going to put it back. I am going to put this back together. I'll put the bezel back on, and we will go from there. And these are kind of a pain in the rump to get the LED plug back in here. That was just a weird idea. Thank you, Uniden. But I do have a technique for that. And what I do is I use the old curved needly nosies, and I just work that that little plug back onto the LED as I slide the bezel back on. Anyway, well, that meter does look better, and it is a lot easier to read. So something was not right here. I mean, they're both kind of yellowed anyway, but it just did, the LED just did not look right in this meter. And of course, this one's a lot harder to read. See, at that angle, you don't get to see a lot of it. Yeah, see? So anyway, okay. Okay, so I'm going to run this on the bench. Lid's on. Everything's back to normal for the most part. I am going to run this for a couple days. I really like these radios, as I've said probably 10 or 15 times in this video. They do have their little quirks, you know. Some of these older radios did. If you run single sideband and you've got these big bowl stations, you know, there's a lot of dirty stations out there. And they're just running buttloads of power, which is cool. I don't care about that. But some of these old radios, and I remember this back in the day, when you go up to sideband, you'll have a little scratch sound in the back sometimes. And then on some radios, when you turn the A&L noise blanker on and off, or on or off, or what, well, off, then that will go away. And I like separate A&L noise blankers. And that's just kind of something that these old school radios do. If you'll get some big dirty station out there on 28 or 6 or something, you know, a big AM station, then that will do that. It will have a tendency to sometimes scratch a little in your front end there. But, you know, way better sounding than any of the modern rigs, in my opinion. You can pick signals out of the woodwork with one of these. So anyway, I'm going to run this for a while on the table here, and we'll see how that goes. And then stay tuned. I think we'll do an alignment video. And I'm not going to really show how to align it or anything like that. I'm not going to live stream or anything like that. But I'll do a before and after, and we'll just go through. I really don't know what to expect, quite frankly. And I left that resistor in there. But I put a little piece of tape over it so it doesn't hit the lid. I mean, it wouldn't anyway. And then there's a piece of tape over the little leads of the meter itself, just so it doesn't get all janky in there. But I did leave it in there. That's in there for a reason. You know, that was designed that way. That's in there for a reason. And that was probably only a 1 or 2 cent part back in the day. But, you know, they're doing, what, 50,000 of these chassis a day back in the heyday, from what I understand. So, you know, that adds up. They're not going to throw something in there that doesn't belong in there. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe some other technician or the other owner or something did that. So I'm not really sure. Anyway, I'll look on the schematic. I probably should have been a little more prepared. But all the pots are looking good. They feel good. So that's a service that I'm not going to have to do for quite a while. All modes and functions work as they should rather well. The relays not going dead on me anymore. And big difference. Big difference. So there you go. Thanks for watching. And yeah, that meter's way easier for me to read. And I think it looks a lot better. So as far as the light goes. So anyway, I'm kind of glad I left the LED in there now. I do like the incandescent look, I will say that. You know, I was hooked on LEDs for a while when they first came out. Everybody was putting LEDs, and it was cool and all that. But now on these old radios, I kind of like the old look. You know, the old incandescent look. So anyway, leave questions or comments down below if you guys have one of these, or if you work on one of these, or have a lot of experience with one of these. School me. I'd appreciate it. Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.